the best. It is Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you know what that is. It is Conversations with Comedians on Beltway Radio and Beyond.com, bringing comedy to the conversation. I am your host, Mr. Perspective, Doug Bennett. As you can see, I have revamped the studio. We are going to get into it. Got a framed shirt. Grandma, granddad, my brother. And in light of it being Dr. King's birthday, he's not the only king we're going to reference. We're going to reference my long lost ancestor, okay? He was a pharaoh in Egypt, I think. And his name was Doug Ra. Doug Ra. We're going to get into that later. But as always, I got to give love to my man. I'm not in here by myself on the ones and twos, threes, fours, fives, and sixes. Let's hope he got himself together now. Be easy. Where you at, baby?
Doug Rob, that's who's your
Doug Ra. Doug Ra. As a matter of fact, hold on. I'm gonna get a close. I want y'all to get a close up. Doug Ra. He was a long lost ancestor. I just found that out. That's right. I did my 23 and 1 and a half. And I found out that half was Doug Ra.
Oh, okay.
Don't do that. One thing you're not going to do is look confused as if you don't know I got royal blood inside of me.
Okay.
Why won't people allow me to be great?
I'm allowing you to be great. You and your ancestor can be great. Yes, great Rob. Okay.
You trifling, man. Like, you terrible, dog. Like, my family, we have weekly calls every Sunday. And I showed them this authentic picture that was excavated from a couple of pyramids and whatnot. And they made fun of me. I said, Doug Ra stands for sun god. Doug stands for seeker of light. Seeker of light, which comes from the sun god. That's what Doug Ra means. That's exactly what Doug Ra means. They clowned me. They said the light ain't on upstairs. That's exactly what they said to me.
Okay. How many times did you see Moon Knight?
Moon Knight?
Yeah, Marvel's Moon Knight on Disney Plus.
Man, I don't watch nothing. At the end game, it's totally pointless to watch anything from Marvel.
Okay, Doug Rob, whatever.
It's not Rob. I'm not a Kardashian. It's Doug Ra. Doug Ra. You gonna put some respect on my ancestor's name. You gonna put some respect on that joint. Hey, y'all. We are observing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today. He would have been 94 years old if he had lived. But in his 39 years of life, I believe he probably accomplished more than most people who live twice his age. So we are definitely going to get to Martin Luther King and my final perspective and possibly what his thought process would be if he was to see the state of not just Black culture, but also of just American culture. So we're going to get into that. First, I got to ask B, how was your weekend, bro?
My weekend was okay until Sunday Night Football.
What happened?
The Ravens lost. And they lost.
Since when are you a Ravens fan?
Huh?
You heard me. Since when are you a Ravens fan? Like my aunt said, if you can hunt, you can hear.
I said I've been a Ravens fan since 1996.
Traitor. You are nowhere near Baltimore. I ain't never seen you wear nothing black and purple ever. Black, yes, but I ain't never seen a hint of purple in it at all.
I have a Ravens beanie on, right? Not right now, but I do wear one. I do have a couple Ravens jackets and shirts.
Hey, America. It's been cold for the past 4 months. Coldness officially starts in October. I ain't not never seen Brian with a beanie or a jacket. Ever. Cold officially starts in October. I ain't not never seen him with a beanie or a jacket. Now all of a sudden he a Ravens fan.
Now, like I said, since 1996, I've been to the
Oh,
castle. I've met John Harbaugh. Yes, I am a Ravens fan.
you know what, man? I can't even fault you because I don't even know what to call them. The team and FedEx ain't giving us too much to root for. So yeah, I'm glad they call it FedEx Field because they need to ship all their fans to winning franchises. That's what they need to do. I'm glad they call it FedEx Field. Let's just ship all of our fans to winning franchises. No, I ain't never seen him.
Overall,
I ain't never seen him.
I just worked and saw a game that I was hoping the Ravens would pull out, but they didn't. So after that, I just did more work. So I'm a workaholic.
That game was weird. That game was weird. Shout out to that defensive lineman who got the highlight of his career. Shout out to him. Because that joker ran, what was it, a fumble at the goal line or something where he snatched the ball?
Yeah.
The ball was knocked out of Huntley's hands and he caught it and just ran like 99 yards.
Yeah.
What's so funny about it is he couldn't even celebrate really because he had the oxygen mask on. And what makes it so bad is he'd have to go right back out there on defense after the kickoff. My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put no salt in your wound, Ravens fan.
I'm okay. So I will sit.
But like my relative Doug Robb, I'm just bringing light to the situation. That's all I'm doing. Like my relative Doug Robb.
Okay.
But speaking of football, my homeboy, shout out to my man D, who is hosting his podcast, Mike's Unleashed. Y'all got to check that out. Shout out to him. He sent me a throwback of all throwbacks. Speaking of football, this is for all the people who doubt the athletic prowess that I, Mr. Perspective, had. Put that picture up, B. Okay, put that picture up, B. There we go. I want y'all to take a look at that. Y'all see that picture? That picture is from 19 None of Your Damn Business. And it is a picture of the middle school football team. And right there, number 80 is your boy. I was all cul-de-sac when it came to receivers. Because, living in the suburbs, like when I lived in the city, they were dead ends. But in the suburbs, they're cul-de-sacs. I was all cul-de-sac as a receiver. And I took my skills to the gridiron. You understand me? My stats, I would have had at least 5 receptions a game if our quarterback threw the ball more. Okay? I would have had. Like, that's how you got to calculate my stats. I would have had 5 receptions a game had it not been for our quarterback just being physically gifted and feeling like he could run every play. But I'm just letting y'all know, I was an athlete. You see me? They had to get, I was so good, they said, you know what? We're going to give you 80. Why? Because Jerry Rice had it. Jerry Rice had it. Thank you. They call me. They call him Jerry Rice. What?
Can I ask a question? What was your team's record 30 years?
That ain't none of your business. At the end of the day, that ain't none of your business what our record was. Okay? We gave our heart and soul to that season. Sure, out of 8 games, we may have won. Once again, that's none of your business. At the end of the day, they gave me the number of Jerry Rice. And that's when I got my nickname, Doug Gravy. Doug Gravy.
Wait. They gave you Jerry Rice's number, but a nickname of Doug Gravy.
That's right. Because I covered all of Jerry Rice's stats. Well, I would have covered all of Jerry Rice's stats if they threw the ball to me. So he was Jerry Rice, I was Doug Gravy. And together, I was a perfect match. Perfect match, bro. I want you to put that picture back up. Put that picture back up. Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in?
Unfortunately, I can't zoom in on StreamYard.
Well, see, you should see me. I had greatness written all over me. You should see the way I even pose for the picture. This is how I pose for the picture. Chin up, everything. Because I knew. Don't laugh. See, y'all just won't let me be great. I was
I'm trying to let you be great. I'm trying.
Doug Gravy, baby. There was Jerry Rice and Doug Gravy. Believe that. Believe that.
Okay, let me ask you this question then. If you don't, let's say I'm going to give you the pass of if you don't remember your records. Did you guys win any championships?
Why are you asking questions that are totally irrelevant to my recollection of how great I was?
Because Jerry Rice won some championships, so I figured it's like if you're going to emulate a great, one of the greatest football players of all time, I figured he's like you had some similarities.
See, this is the reason why I can't recollect the way I want to, because people like Brian ask questions that are unneeded. If I tell you that I went to the prom with the prom queen or the head cheerleader, don't ask for a picture. Just believe me. Just believe me. If I tell you I dated the finest girl in school, you don't need to ask how many girls were in school. Maybe that narrowed the choices down. Just believe me.
Okay. I just want to know because I did play, football for, during my middle school years. So I figured it's like, okay.
What was your position?
I was center and defensive end.
That's convenient. So how the hell you go from center and defensive end to microphone check 1 2? What is this?
When you're in middle school, you don't think about being an engineer or being in video production. You just watch music videos. Don't think about being in one or be a part of one.
Listen, I had a legitimate turf toe injury that stopped me from going to the league. Legitimate turf toe. You understand me?
Well,
and I understand why God allowed that to happen, because I needed to have this face uncovered so I can talk to America. Because if I was in the NFL, I would always have my face covered. So God said, let me take this toe because I don't need him there. I need him here. So let me take, it was kind of like Jacob wrestling with the angel. Oh, Shatala Boshit. It was like Jacob wrestling with the angel and the Lord touched his hip. Jacob would still be WWEing that angel to this day. But God said, let me touch his hip. That's exactly what the Lord did to me. He said, Doug, like your ancestor, Doug Ra, I need you to shine a light on people. And the only way I can let you shine a light on people is I'm going to have to bench you. I'm going to have to bench you with this turf toe, baby. I know you could go out here and do your thing. Say what?
Okay.
Don't do that. Don't laugh, bro. Don't do that.
Okay. There we go. Got some color.
All I'm saying is
let's shine some real light on this. Okay. All right.
Our ways are not his ways, B. Our thoughts are not his thoughts. Just know that.
You're not.
Just know that. I'm telling you, I could have been one of the greats, baby. Doug Gravy. That would have been my nickname. They already had Jerry Rice. They had Doug Gravy. See?
Moving on.
Man, let's move on, man. Let's move on, man. So moving on We got a game tonight, Monday Night Football, keeping with the theme of football. It is the Dallas Cowboys going up against Tampa Tam. Tampa, what is it? Tampa Tom? Tampa Tom? What do they call him? I know what they call him. They call him the GOAT. That's what they call him.
Or like a jackass,
now,
but something else.
Oh, really? That's what. See, this is the part where I'm almost conflicted because I have spent the majority of Tom Brady's career rooting against him. I'm not even gonna lie. Tom Brady has cost me so much money. I've had to dip into my savings to pay people back because of Tom Brady. I went for what was it? He took money from me with the greatest show on turf. He took money from me with the Philadelphia Eagles. I could have sworn the Eagles were going to win when T.O. came back with that bionic ankle. T.O. was like, what, the $6 million man? They put his ass back together just for the Super Bowl. I could have sworn they was going to win. Took my money then. The one Super Bowl that cost me the most was the Seattle Super Bowl. I really and truly believe, man, that Super Bowl, I'm still hurt over that. I'm still hurt over that Super Bowl. I literally lost because well, how much did I lose? Because I lost a couple $100 on that Super Bowl, including the $3 surcharge that I had to pay because they ain't had no damn Wells Fargo ATM. So I lost $203. $203. All over a surcharge and all over the dumbest play call in the history of the league. But I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. I'm not. All I know is, Tom, are you the enemy? Is the enemy of my enemy my friend or my enemy?
Okay, so basically what you're saying is, would you rather have the Bucks beat the Cowboys, or would you rather have the Cowboys beat the Bucks?
Tom has had a very trying year. He's had a very trying year. I mean, between the fact of the matter that he didn't get all the training camp in because of personal reasons, and then those personal reasons be made to the light because his wife, Giselle, is now getting tapped out by her jiu-jitsu trainer. I don't know any other way to put it. Now she's mounting her jiu-jitsu trainer. I don't know, man. I have never rooted for the Cowboys, and I can't see myself doing it now. But I've never rooted for Tom Brady. So it's like, which is the lesser of two evils? Do I want Tom to recover from his woman leaving him for her jiu-jitsu trainer? Or do I really and truly want to see the Cowboys go to the next round so I can listen to that fan base? I mean, what do you think, B? Because I still got to think about this joint. I still got about another hour and a half before I have to decide.
I don't give a rat's ass about this game.
Why you mad? Why you mad?
It's not being mad. It's not being mad. To be honest with you, these two teams, it's like, mind you, of course they would put it on the, since they've expanded the playoffs to, add this extra game, so put it on a Monday night and make it all at its own and make it all special. And I've already heard the rompings of either, oh, will this be Tom Brady's last game? And Dallas is like, oh, will Dallas finally do it? Will they finally get moving and all this stuff and be who everyone expects them to be? The only people who expect Dallas to be who they are Dallas fans, and that's it. As for the Bucks and Tom Brady, I don't give a rat's ass. I never liked him. I don't care what everyone says, call him a GOAT or not. He's, to me, like I said, is a jackass. That stupid, that tuck rule really ruined football from here to eternity and made him who he is. And that's it. So, to be honest,
You know, the one thing I get from that whole soliloquy is I'm not the only one that's lost money on Tom Brady. I'm not the only one.
Here's
Because
the
boy,
thing. It's not about losing
you
money.
sound like you really and truly lost
No, it's not
your
about
rent
losing.
money.
It's not about losing money. I'm sick of the fact of the media and any known person who sit there that one dude who just hands off or throws a ball is the greatest of all time. And it's like, dude, he's one dude on a team of over 50. I don't get it. It's like I just don't. I mean, I'm still like the old school football. I believe in the fact that it's like, hey, they're part of a collective. One dude doesn't make or break this shit. When Tom Brady came into Tampa a couple of years ago, I always felt that, okay, you just shrunk the Buccaneers window by bringing him in there, because you're only going to have him release a good maybe 3 or 4 years, depending on the will he or won't he mindset, just like Brett Favre did years ago. So really, to be honest with you, I don't give a rat's ass about this game.
America, I want you to take a picture of this situation. This is the most emotion Be Easy has ever had on this show. I have introduced this dude like he was an Academy Award winner, like he had a Grammy, a Tony. I introduced this dude like he was a light-skinned, bald-headed, four-eyed Jamie Foxx. And all I've ever gotten out of him was hi, hi, hi. That's all I've ever gotten out of him. Bring up Tom Brady and look at the emotion that he has. I'm going to tell you right now, from now on, I'm going to introduce this dude as Tom Brady's best friend. Forget all of the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. I'm going to say, hey, I am not on this podcast alone. Over to my left is Tom Brady's best friend, Be Easy. And watch the emotion that comes out of him. I have finally found out how to push his buttons, because apparently as an engineer, he ain't got no buttons to push.
Say that next week, and then we'll see.
Yeah, I finally figured out how to push his buttons, America, because unfortunately as an engineer, he ain't got no buttons to push. You done showed your hand, bruh. Once again, my ancestor, Doug Ra, brings light to a situation. Once again. Moving on, man. I know we're celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday today, but another king has celebrated his birthday. My man, LL Cool J, James Todd Smith. That's right. LL Cool J is celebrated his birthday January 14th. Do you know how old LL Cool J is?
He's 55.
Can you believe that?
Yes and no, because the makeup when he's on NCIS LA keeps him looking like, okay, I know he's in his 50s, but he's trying to push, still look like he's like early 40s. So he keeps it good.
Listen to me, man. I personally think LL Cool J has found the fountain of youth. What Ponce de Leon was looking for years ago, centuries ago, LL found it. And I'm going to tell you right now, in honor of LL Cool J, and his birthday, no chapstick will be allowed on this podcast. That's right. Chapstick gone. That's for I got 2 of them. That was for my top lip, and this one's for my bottom lip. No chapstick. I will periodically lick my lips through this podcast in honor of James Todd Smith. And that's dangerous, y'all, because I could dehydrate. So I'm going to do this. That's how much I love LL. Go ahead, Brian. Tell me what your first memory of LL Cool J was.
My sister, when she got the radio album, she really liked LL Cool J, and when she got that album, just seeing that cover, the big boom box and everything.
Yeah, his first album. I remember that.
And we played it, and she was really into it and stuff like that. Thinking what my sister and I, think of us as like the Cosby Kids, back in the day, listen to it.
So you
So
Theo?
say again.
You Theo?
Yeah, I've been told that I do look like Malcolm Jamal Warner. Yes, I don't. Just think about it. Yeah,
Go on. Go on. Don't you ever in your life lob something like that over home plate for a comedian. I'ma let you live. Even though you tried to take my greatness away in the beginning, I'ma let you live. Malcolm Jamal Warner, my black ass. Yeah, yeah. Malcolm Jamal, more like Warner Brothers. You ain't no Malcolm Jamal. Keep going. Keep going with your LL story. I'm gonna let you live.
um, LL, I mean, he's a great guy. I really did like his music. I mean, honestly, Mama said "Knock You Out." I think to me is one of the greatest songs, and for him, it's almost like a comeback song, but really, he never left, like he said in the lyrics. So, I admire his change. It's unfortunate that he's never in the conversation of greatest rappers anymore.
Yeah, that's
Really is.
crazy.
So, I mean, just from the way he starts it, with passion, with aggressiveness, and then sometimes, if LL, lady lover, he brings it smooth and all that stuff. He, keeps it quiet, and I mean, he changes us up. So I give him full credit for being a very diverse rapper that not a lot of people respect, and B, admire or acknowledge. So I think, again, I think LL Cool J should be top tier and never drop. I mean, he's quote unquote the GOAT for a reason.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. First and foremost, let me start my remembrance of LL. Like I said, um, my first encounter with LL was when I really started to understand his lyrics. I think I was in the 5th grade, and I really liked this girl. Her name was Deirdre, and I called her on the phone. And remember, back in the day, y'all, we used to play music in the background. Like, we would play music in the background because it would set the mood. And then I would take it a step further by cutting off the light in my room, as if that would set the ambiance, as if she really could tell whether my lights was on or off over there. But it set the ambiance. And I remember I would spit lyrics to her. And I said, Deirdre, when I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall. This how stupid she was. She's like, why you staring at the wall? You ain't got no TV? Your mama didn't pay your cable bill? I'm like, girl, I'm trying to rap to you. I said, in the back of my mind, I hear my conscience call. She said, my mama said, that ain't your conscience. That's the Holy Spirit convicting you. That's what it is. That's why you staring at the wall. It's because the Holy Spirit done convicted you, because you out there doing stuff you ain't got no business doing. I'm like, how am I out there doing stuff I ain't got no business doing? And I'm 10. I'm 10. I'm barely allowed to ride my bike in the street. She messed the whole thing up. I said, girl, I need love. She was like, you know who gives love? The Lord gives love. My mama told me about dudes like you. I said, you know what? Forget it. I said, forget it. So that was my first encounter with LL. My second encounter with LL was his battle with Kool Moe Dee. And this was the stage where I really started to realize that there are 2 types of tiers of black men. There's the brown-skinned black men, and there's the light-skinned black men. And the light-skinned black man at that time was taking over. You know what I'm talking about, B, because you light-skinned it yourself. That's how you know that a light-skinned dude took my girl. So I always emphasize the skinned it part, light-skinned it. I purposely went for Kool Moe Dee because he was dark-skinned. I ain't gonna lie. LL killed him, and I purposely went for Kool Moe Dee because he was dark-skinned. Because I was sick and tired of light-skinned brothers winning. I really was. Back then it was LL was light-skinned, D Nice was light-skinned, Kid from Kid and Play was light-skinned, but Play was dark-skinned, so you put them together, they was kind of my complexion. But at the end of the day, Kid was still light-skinned. Man, I was getting tired of them light-skinned brothers, man. I really was. So I purposely went for Kool Moe Dee. And you see who's left standing. So I guess I hitched to the wrong horse or the wrong goat, so to speak. But LL, man, I don't think he gets the props that he deserves as one of the goats. Like, perfect example, man. I never even cared about the animal of a goat. Like, I used to hate the story, the Billy Goat's Gruff. I hated that story. But LL has brought respect back to the goat family. And my thing is, how can you coin the term GOAT, which we use across the board now, but he's not considered one of the GOATs? I have consistently heard people's top 5, and LL is not in it. And to me, LL should be in it strictly off of longevity. LL was going platinum back when hip hop was a baby. Before hip hop is the phenomenon that it is now, LL was going platinum back then, where you actually had to get your behind up and walk into a record store and buy his record. LL was going platinum back then, long before Napster, long before Spotify, long before iHeartRadio. James Todd Smith was going platinum. That right there in itself should put him on the GOAT list. That right there in itself should put him on the GOAT list. So definitely.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think it's like, I think the sad thing is, as more and more years add on and we see more rappers, quote unquote, get into the limelight, and those who do reporting of those rappers, and it, something like any notable magazine like The Source or Rolling Stone or whatever, they'll put them in there, but unfortunately they'll put them in the bottom because of the fact it's they don't fully know them. The modern day, they always focus on modern day viewership, and it's like, okay, you completely forget the fact that like this guy pretty much helped push hip hop to where it is now, in a sense. I mean, when he have, my sister went to the Rock the Bell festival last year. It was packed. People went to see him, and a lot of artists that resemble.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. This right here kills it for anybody else. LL Cool J single-handedly built Def Jam. I want people to marinate on that for a while. We're talking about the same Def Jam that cranked out Jay-Z with Rockefeller, DMX with Rough Riders, Ja Rule with Murder Inc., the same Def Jam that came out with Island Def Jam, Def Jam South, Def Jam Soul. LL Cool J single-handedly built that company. Single-handedly. Like, he almost has a Michael Jordan effect. Like, think about this. All of these guys who are getting signature shoes, especially from Nike, it was because of MJ. MJ single-handedly built Nike. Nike is synonymous with signature shoes and basketball, and that's because of Jordan. Prior to Jordan, Nike was a track shoe, and I dare somebody to name me a track star. I'll give you one. Carl Lewis. Beyond that, you ain't coming up with no track stars like that. But I guarantee you, because of Michael Jordan and Nike and how he built them with his shoe, you can come up with at least 5 to 6 athletes that have signature merchandise because of Michael Jordan. It's the same thing with LL. LL single-handedly built Def Jam, which spawned the Jay-Z's, the DMX's, the Ja Rules, man, even R&B wise with Case and all the rest of them. So, man, James Todd Smith, y'all better start putting some respect on his name. Y'all better start putting some respect on his name.
And you have to add in, I mean, he was all into the urban fashion scene, with the,
absolutely.
And he started that, and then he was one of those notable rappers that got into acting, and look where he's now. He's been on, like I said, NCIS LA for almost 20 years now. So the thing is like,
and he's the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
He's the reason why chapsticks sales have gone up in the past 20 to 30 years. He's like, we've got to stop these black people from just constantly licking their lips. We got to find a way. And guess what? Because of LL Cool J, I have never had chapped lips ever. Shout out to the GOAT, James Todd Smith. I'm serious, man. Shout out to him, man. I'm serious, but I got to be careful, man. I got abnormally sized lips, boy. After a while, man, that's too much spit to keep rubbing on the joints, man. I'm just saying. Oh, man. You know how we do. We talk culture, comedy, and now controversy. Dana White has been in the news, honestly, this entire month. I'm sure by now you have heard about the altercation heard round the world. Dana White got into it with his wife. I think it was on New Year's Eve or New Year's. There's a video circulating of Dana White and his wife getting physical with each other. She hit him, Dana White hit her back. And there's a lot of questions that are coming on the lack of coverage that this is getting. I can understand where people are coming from. It's actually been brought up by two comedy goats, D.L. Hughley and Jamie Foxx. My question is, do you feel or do you believe his white privilege, as they put it, has something to do with the lack of coverage? Because I can understand when it comes to the Brett Favre situation, which still blows my mind, the lack of coverage on that. With Kyrie Irving was round the clock. Like, everybody was talking about Kyrie Irving. I even saw them talking about Kyrie Irving on Telemundo, talking about Kyrie Irving, el anti-Semitic palabras. I mean, they were going in. But for some reason, Brett Favre has not gotten that same round the clock coverage, not even from sports shows like an ESPN or a Fox or a FS1. And now it's starting to translate to the Dana White situation. My question to you is, do you believe that Dana White should get more, this situation should get more coverage, or is it, or the fact of him being white plays into the role of him not getting
it? It's a double-edged sword on that one. I feel like, for one, the lack of coverage, I feels like, what's there to tell? I mean, they had a dispute. I mean, he owns a company. He can't suspend himself unless he decides he wants to do that. So really,
well, I've heard Dana White. I've heard that the UFC is actually owned by the Furtadas. Dana White is more of a figurehead, so to speak. So I do believe that people are calling for them to let him go. People are actually calling for the Furtadas to let him go.
Well, I mean, if they do that, then that's fine. But I just still feel that, again, we focus on celebrity issues, let's put it that way, and we wonder why it's like, well, why certain things aren't being done when this guy just smacked his wife or whatever. Why we're not, again, like you said, why are we not fully covering it? To me, it's like, okay, do we need to cover every single domestic dispute between couples everywhere? If it's, starting with him, I just don't. To me, it's like, okay, they had an issue. Either A, was already resolved, they settled it, they handled it, let's move on. B, as for, let's say, if, since he's a white dude,
you almost say that like it's a burden for Dana, since he happens to be Caucasian.
Yes. I just think that
since he happens to lack melanin.
Yes, has to be, yes, has to be.
Minus melanin.
I just feel like, a lot of people need to realize what's the real importance. Now, if you're speaking about Brett Favre, that issue, that I'm surprised that was never fully talked about.
Yeah, that to me is a trip.
There's more criminal activity in that aspect than what Kyrie Irving did just by retweeting something. I mean,
and to me, the lack of coverage when it comes to Brett. We're talking about a guy who stole millions of dollars from a federal fund. Like, bro, do you understand that there are people out there who don't pay the IRS taxes and go to jail? Wesley Snipes almost filmed Blade 4 in prison because of tax evasion. This dude siphoned millions of dollars from a federal fund to pay for a volleyball court for his daughter that Brett Favre could easily stroke a check for and pay. So I can understand the white privilege when it comes to that. I won't say I don't understand where people are coming from when it comes to the accusation of white privilege in this case. I want to take it from a different angle, because I had gotten into a discussion with a young man in the barbershop. And this is what I believe is being missed. Why are we not talking about the fact that she assaulted him first? Because if you see that video, she hit Dana first. And all we focus on is the fact that he hit her back. Why do you feel in America that it's okay for violence against men from women? Why does that seem to get glossed over?
That because the way we feel, again, men are stronger. The fairest sex are the women. We should protect our women. We shouldn't hurt our women and things like that. We've been promoting that for years. And the thing is like, we forget the fact that
you do realize that there are women in prison that have killed men.
That's what I was getting to. that. There are
I'm just saying.
Notable. Yes, there are a lot of, if anyone who watches, Discovery channels and watch those documentaries about serial killers, is a lot of them were women. So, because
no, you know the funny thing about it is they have an entire show on Lifetime called Snapped, dedicated to women killing men. I'm telling you right now, I remember dating a woman who wanted me to come over. This was before Netflix and chill. It was like Lifetime and watch. I went to her crib, and for 2 hours on that Sunday night, we literally watched a Snapped marathon. And I saw her, and my hand to God, I literally saw her take out a pen and pad and start jotting something down. And every time she wrote something down, she looked at me and was like, I was like, what you looking at me for? She was just like, oh, nothing. Just sit back, enjoy yourself. Want me to go get you something to eat? I'm like, no, I'm fasting. Don't worry about it. I'm good. I ended the date by saying, I'm broke, right? I ain't got no money. I'm broke, right? I just wonder that, because I got into a discussion with a young man in the barbershop, a young African-American man, and he was just like, it was crazy because his mindset was, if a woman hits you, you must have done something to deserve that hit. And it's crazy to me because it's like, to hear that type of rhetoric come out of a man's mouth, it's like, so you're telling me that she is justified in causing bodily harm to a man, no matter how she feels? And I just find that amazing. I find that very, very troubling. It is not gender-based. If you look up the definition of domestic violence, it is who causes bodily harm to another. So I just wonder, and I'm not defending Dana White by no stretch. Where does this mindset come from that it is okay, or men from women can be passed? It's overlooked.
Okay, well, iconic beat down from a woman to a man. You're crazy in the elevator, and because again, all people remember out, yes, drink your tea, eat your popcorn, because that was most again, and Salon all, but at the same time, no charges were pressed. No,
You really didn't have to say hit. You had to say hit albums. You could have said successful. I'm just pointing that out.
oh, honestly, it's like, Solange didn't get nothing out of it. I mean, meaning the fact of it was like an upset, sister-in-law against knowing full well what Jay-Z did. I kind of understand where, the person you were talking to would say it's like, yeah, but the thing is like, it's kind of like in football. Yeah, going back to football, is like we always for the first. The
Absolutely.
second person means
Absolutely.
Dana White hitting back. And it's kind of like, mind you, the instant retaliation is you're going to go to jail after it. That's it. No matter get, ooh, you get the ooze. He's like, oh, you're a punk, all that stuff.
True.
And it's
I remember the first time I got hit by a woman, man. My heavy-handed female I'd ever seen in my life. She actually hit me. And the bad thing about it was, it wasn't a slap. Like, she hit me square. I had to brace myself. I'm proud to say I did not. Where I shook her real hard, like, girl, you must be out your mind. I made sure that my head was by her head so she couldn't see the tears streaming out my eyes, because that hit her. Hurt. I was like, girl, why you do that? How Chris Rock say, I don't believe in hitting no woman, but I'll a hug that would envy hug time at any Baptist church. I was like, yo, I had to leave the car. That was a hard hit. I cried in the car. I'm serious, man. How that is being so overlooked in the fact of, I feel like that is a deeper issue. I'm not justifying Dana at all. I'm not justifying him at all. We need to look into, because I don't believe people really take serious the violence that's taken against men out there who really and truly get assaulted and abused. And it's the same people, like, let's just keep to men for leadership and protection. But who believe that's a discussion that needs to happen. This society, I don't care what color, creed, national, we look to men for leadership, guidance, and more than 20% of the military, firefighters, and persuasion. It is still male-dominated industries because we still look to men. But my question is, who protects us? Who looks out for us? And I believe I really and truly believe. Now, once again, I am throwing out a disclaimer. I am not justifying that. Say, Mr. Perspective's perspective is off. No, your hearing is low. I am not justifying violence at all. But what I am saying, men's health, mentally and physically, is just as important the one question I would ask anybody out there who has a son, especially if you're a mother of a son, by anybody, that's a question that needs to be asked. Would you be, especially by the woman that he's sworn to be in a relationship? Question that needs to be asked. All right, we're starting to round down, man, on conversation observation of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His birthday is January 15th, 1929. Following his birthday. And Martin see that I really don't believe people understand the full scope. I can't come up with 5 leaders over the history that has had a more positive effect on humanity than a man who stood on his principles and his ethics, no matter. Listen, I get cut off in traffic. I'm ready for war. My parking space the other day at a show I had to pray to God, Jesus, Allah, Methodist, to Islam, to Catholic. I prayed to everybody I could. Martin Luther King Jr. had to endure. Man, I couldn't have survived. I couldn't have survived at all. And that to me gets lost in translation with a lot of us. We have seen, I have personally witnessed the disrespect of Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy by certain podcasters out there. And it has always stuck with me because we would rather focus on the negativity instead of the positive aspects of him. Martin Luther King Jr. had a purpose, and that purpose was fulfilled. And the funny thing about it was, I think the most poignant statement he ever made was in his I Have a Dream speech, when he said, I have seen the promised land. I may not get there with you. And he surely didn't, because of April 4th, 1968. My question to you be, in this final perspective, and granted it's rhetorical, would Martin Luther King Jr. be satisfied with the progress or the progression of the Black community today? And I think that's a question we really need to ask ourselves. Because when I look at what Martin Luther King Jr. did and our ancestors before us and what they accomplished with a lot less, it really makes me look at us and say, man, we really and truly, have we really done our ancestors justice? And I know everybody is in the pronouns this year and have been in the pronouns. That's the reason why I say us and we. Okay? Those are the pronouns I believe in. Us and we. Because we're all in this together. And I really wonder, where are we? What would our ancestors say to us if they saw us today? Are we really living the dream that they said, or have we taken advantage of a dream and in some cases maybe turned it into a living nightmare? I really believe that's something that, as us in the African American community, we need to think about. And this is not surfacey just because of who you're dealing with or where you are in life. I think we need to really look inside ourselves and say, are we really doing justice to a dream that a man had who didn't even live to see it come to fruition? So Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I will continue to honor and reverence your sacrifice. And I pray that my fellow Black brothers and sisters do the same. As a matter of fact, I pray everybody does, because his dream was not just for him, but it was for everybody. That we will not look at color, but the contents of someone's character. And I think a lot of times we overlook character sometimes for color, or we overlook character for convenience. And the one thing about it is, doing the right thing isn't always convenient. Hey, nothing but love. Mr. Perspective, signing out. See you next week. Peace. I'll be right back, B.